Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Out of the Ice podcast.
All right, so today we're going to try to go back to a different formula. We're basically just going to do a whole, hey, what if we just record a podcast in like a 2 to 3 hour period, just all at once. Watch this, like talk about it beforehand, watch this thing, and then immediately the second the YouTube clip ends, Scott's just going to turn Audacity back on and be like, go.
Yeah. I can't promise that it will go back to this format forever yet. I would like to eventually go back to it because I think it's a very engaging thing. It gives a chance for, you guys to watch it and then come back to the second half. But the way we have stuff set up right now, it's not like we have like an office or anything like this. So it just we're kind of doing this slap shot until we can get a better setup, which requires more space, which requires money, which requires us moving to a better place and equipment and whatever. But anyway, as you might have been able to tell from the title, we're watching Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. But not the one with Ben Schwartz, Jim Carrey, and the other guy.
The other guy.
The other guy who constantly talks about how he played Cyclops once. He might have done it more than once. James Marsden is who I'm talking about.
Okay.
I kid. James, you seem like a decent person when you're not having to be in Hop. God, that movie's awful. But we're watching the OVA, original video animation, made in Japan, dubbed in English, that was made in the 90s, I believe around the time of... 1999, so like right on the cusp of the new millennium.
Then I might be young enough, or I might have been like old enough to remember this, because I've been thinking about like the Sonic OVA thing, because you brought this up like a couple days ago that we could do this, and I'm trying to think like, okay, what do I know about it, or what do I remember about it before we hop into this episode. And I have a very vague memory. I was still living in my Chicago apartment at that time, so it was before I was 10 years old, and I vaguely remember seeing something with Knuckles with some sort of cowboy hat. Is it from this?
Yes.
Okay, so I've technically seen
I was just waiting for her to mention something from Sad AM or Adventures or Underground or X, or there's been a lot of Sonic stuff. In fact, there has been so much Sonic stuff that if every single thing that's not a video game didn't say based on characters from video games, I wouldn't be surprised if some kid like saw me, like if I was drawing Sonic or something, and they're like, oh man, he's my favorite comic book character, or he's my favorite cartoon character, or my favorite action figure. I'm like, oh yeah, his games are pretty cool. They make games? Like, I wouldn't be surprised. That's the reason why I'm like, man, Mania was really good. Forces could have been good. But I honestly think the next 10 Sonic games could be absolute pieces of unfinished garbage along the likes of Boom or 06. They still would not give up on Sonic.
No.
That is... Because what else do they have, really? Aside from Streets of Rage, which they finally made a fourth one.
I was so excited for that.
When's the last time you've seen Knights, Altered Beast, Alex Kidd, Kid Chameleon...
My other absolute
Crazy
favorite,
Taxi...
Space Channel 5.
That one wasn't even in my brain.
It's one of my absolute favorite video games of all time.
Yeah, when's the last... Or Echo. I don't think Echo.
Yeah, I remember having it. I remember having the Dreamcast one, but hating it.
That one's 3D, right?
Yes.
The one where, like... Doesn't that start off with saying, like, a bunch of dolphins and humans were captured?
It's been so long. I played it a few times and couldn't get into it.
I think they eventually ported that to PS2. And it's essentially a 3D remake of the original game, including the fact that, like, the second level is caverns where you're constantly having to search for ways to get air because you can't surface, and it's dark and a maze, and fuck that. Otherwise, I really like Echo. In fact, although I do think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they fucked up. Maybe it was just in the PS2 port, but I don't remember Echo having the constellation on his forehead.
Huh.
And, like, that's part of his character design. That's how... Although, I bet in the original game you couldn't really tell in his character sprites anyway. But anyway, Sonic essentially is the only fucking Sega character that anybody ever gives a shit about, really. Like Sonic or Sonic characters. You know, Tails, Knuckles, Rouge, Blaze, Amy.
Robotnik.
Sure. No, I like Robotnik.
Yeah, he's fun when he is.
In fact, I'm gonna say, God, I wish Forces had had more time to cook. Because when I saw that first trailer, I was so fucking hyped.
Really?
It looked like something that was like based on the Archie comics or Sad AM, you know, where it's like it's a dark thing where Eggman has taken over everything and Sonic's just part of a resistance. You know, and I was like, oh man, if they wanted to, they could go really fucking dark with this. And I think that would be fun. Like, because a Sonic color palette, so bright colors and, you know, all this stuff, but then a very dark story.
That contrast would be
that
kind
isn't
of interesting.
06.
That contrast would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I even thought, like, oh man, something that'd be cool is if you bring back, like, the Sonic Advance or Rush kind of thing, where there's that opposite dimension Eggman that Blaze is always having to fight because she's the Sonic of her world. Maybe it's an invasion by that Eggman, and he's like way more serious and less goofy. So like, or even like bring in some elements from Sonic Chronicles, and maybe like it's the aliens and echidnas from that coming, because like that game left on a cliffhanger
Yeah, and it
of
never
Mobius being attacked. So I'm like, what if it's a sequel to that? That'd be cool.
What are you talking? Is that the DS one?
Yes.
The DS RPG.
Yeah, that was made by Bethesda. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking about picking that up, and then I heard it was kind of a hot piece of garbage.
It's one of the only things that actually reference that Amy uses tarot cards, which is how she was introduced. She went to Little Planet in Sonic CD because her tarot cards told her to.
Huh.
Saying that there'd be a fateful encounter.
Interesting.
Also, Sonic is around 15 to 17. Amy is 12.
Yeah, we had this discussion a few days ago. Like,
only a 3-year difference, but in an age range that's still really creepy.
Yeah.
Sega, just go ahead and age Amy up. Nobody will care that you retconned it. Just make it less weird.
Please.
Just make it less weird. It's still better than when she was 8.
Oh, God. No.
Anyway, speaking of Sonic CD, this is partially based on Sonic CD. And in fact, if I remember correctly, the same animation team that made the OVA also made the animated segments of Sonic CD.
Oh, neat.
So it has a very Sonic CD animation feel to it. So, yeah. Knuckles with cowboy hat.
Because that's the only thing I personally remember about it, because I was old enough but too young to remember more than a hat.
Different voices for Sonic and Tails. It's not the ones from like Sad AM or Adventures of. So it's not Jaleel White and whoever voiced Tails. And in fact, honestly, and also another thing interesting, this was helmed by Japan. So it had nothing to do with Sega of America until it was being internationalized, as far as I know. Meaning that it's really dealing with the Japanese canon and idea that Sonic is. And I don't think it's as different nowadays, but I know around the 90s there was a huge difference in what America thought Sonic was and what Japan thought Sonic was. And then there was also this little bubble in the UK where they thought something completely different too, but it was closer to the American stuff. And that's where, like, you know, over here, we still get people calling him Robotnik. That was never his name. It was always Eggman. But America thought that Eggman didn't sound threatening, so they changed him to Robotnik and came up with this whole backstory of him being Kintabor and then getting changed into Robotnik. And Kintabor was kind of like a father figure to Sonic. And so it was like, oh, it's this tragic Darth Vader Luke thing and all this shit. That's not in this. And in fact, there are other humans besides Eggman in this. And this comes out, as far as I know, when did the first Sonic Adventure release? It was like in 2000?
2000, yeah.
Yeah, so this is before Adventure. It would have been in production, but it was before Adventure, and yet there is the president and his daughter and other humans. And then, like, it just says, like, Eggman Land, and, like, the whole area that Sonic is from, like, a different part of the world. So it kind of almost implies that there's this human area, and then the area of, anthropomorphic animals. And that seems to be more what the game kind of does, right? Because like some of the games have humans, some of them have the anthropomorphic characters, and I think the actual official thing is that there's 2 worlds. That, in fact, multiple, because there's also the world of the wisps, and then I think there was also something that implied that chows were originally alien or something like that.
But the two separate like areas of humans and anthropomorphic characters make sense, because I think back to Sonic Adventure, where you had Station Square, which was basically all humans.
Yes.
And then you take a train to go God knows how far to get to the Mystic Ruins, where all those echidnas used to be.
And where Tails' workshop is, and
Makes sense. Big.
lives in the forest with a non-anthropomorphic frog. That's the thing. There's the weird thing in Sonic is that there are different levels of anthropomorphism. There's normal animals, slightly anthropomorphic animals like the Flickies and all them, and then you have the ones like Sonic, who they cannot, for the life of them in Japan, figure out a reason for that. Like, hell, there was a thing, it was very quickly non-canonized, but it was in a special edition of Sonic Adventure. It came with it. It was like a little short story. Okay. And it said the event of 50 years ago. And it said that there was a human pilot who had the nickname of Sonic, and it was a fighter pilot. And he went down. He went down over the airspace of South Island, which is where the first game takes place. And then suddenly, 50 years later, a weird, fast being, and he was supposedly the fastest fighter pilot ever, like a real speed freak. Suddenly this, almost ghost-like hedgehog starts showing up and saving people with lightning speed and superheroics. So it's like, oh, he's a reincarnation of that fighter pilot? It's weird. In fact, it might have even started as a fan thing, but like they did include it in a 50, like not a 50th, but like an anniversary edition from what I remember. Very quickly, it was not a thing. But yeah, so they are constantly just retconning shit anyway.
Reworking the canon.
Yeah. Also, it's Japan, so sometimes I've noticed that when it comes to Japanese properties, they don't give a fuck about canon anyway. Like, unless it's a more serious thing, they'll just like, fuck it, it's a fantasy now. It was a sci-fi, it's a fantasy now. Fuck it, I don't care. I got bored, I'm writing something else now with the same characters, fuck you.
They just like to rewrite canon. I'm again, this is completely off topic, but there's a game series I like, like Trails, specifically it's like Trails in the Sky, Trails of Cold Steel, all that. And in Trails of Steel 3, there's a character that's like, I knew these characters from the previous game and they're my best friends or whatever, and you never see them you never see her in the original game. So in the re-released version of that game,
she's in there.
Yeah, they
just shoehorned in.
Yeah, they shoot her in there. They gave her own portrait because the Cold Steel is 3D, and that has like these little 2D chibi figures. They went out of their way to give her a portrait and her own new model. Yeah. Just they're like, JK, she was here. Yeah.
Well, that's slightly different because that's fixing plot holes, which that makes sense to kind of make it more congruous. But yeah, no. Like, there are now multiple planets that are just tiny orbiting things in the atmosphere of Mobius. There's Little Planet, there's Lost Hex.
Lost Hex?
Lost Hex is from Lost World.
Okay.
Yeah, which I liked, nobody else seemed to. Fuck it. I thought it was fun. It's like Sonic Galaxy, It's kind of interesting. Then I liked the button where it's like, oh, hey, here's platformer mode, and then hold down a run button for speed mode. Huh. Kind of like Assassin's Creed. I liked that. It gave you more precise control over Sonic's movement, which is always a problem when it comes to Sonic in 3D. 3D has more complex things, but you're still running like a fucking bat out of hell. So I liked that. I liked that control scheme. Nobody else seemed to. I don't give a shit. But anyway, that was on the Wii U, so it was doomed for death.
I honestly forgot that Sonic Lost World was a thing, and that
it had Mario. No, it had a Yoshi's Island and a Legend of Zelda level.
Oh.
It's pretty cool. In the Legend of Zelda level, Sonic is dressed as Link.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's very cute. I think actually Lost World is on Steam now. I wonder if it still has those levels. Probably not.
Yeah, I'd be curious enough. I'd be curious to try it because I don't. Before Mania, the last Sonic game that I played, and like, cause I think I fell off the wagon around Heroes, and then I didn't play another Sonic game until Generations. Liked that well enough. And then I didn't play another Sonic game until Mania. Just none of them ever looked interesting to me.
Yeah.
What is... I was going to say, look, what's that hex?
That's the world map.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an interesting game.
Oof, mixed reviews.
Well, it's a Sonic game.
That's true, too.
I'm honestly surprised Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 still have positive reviews.
Because it's nostalgic.
Yeah, but they're also not great. Especially Adventure 1.
I will admit that Sonic Adventure 1 especially is kind of a hot mess, but it is a hot mess I still adore.
Yeah, no, can't agree. No. What the fuck? They did make a new Alex Kidd game? Oh, it's coming out in 2021?
Holy shit.
Fucking what?
What's nice?
Well, there you go, I guess. Yeah, because I think Alex Kidd is basically just like, it was supposed to be very much a Mario. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it.
Hey, we learned something today.
But yeah, we're going to be watching the OVA. And I think without further ado, go ahead and pause it right now if you haven't watched it. It's about 54 minutes and 15 seconds. So it's only about an hour. It's not that huge of a time sink. And we'll be right back.
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you since I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
All right, so we are now back. We have just watched the Sonic 1999 OVA.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Especially that second half, like right at the end when Sonic and Metal are fighting. That's some good anime shit.
There was a lot of anime shit between that and Knuckles just flying.
Yeah, just flying, not gliding, flying. Which, you know, to be fair...
Power of that hat.
Well, to be fair, the only time we'd seen him by this point was Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Okay, that's true.
So it's possible that they just thought he could fly and were limiting it, like they limit Tails in the game. You know, where he can't fly constantly. I don't know.
Well, because, I mean, if you think about it, like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like, because you could play as Knuckles and he glides, but, like, you can keep going with him gliding until you either hit stage or hit ground.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe if you think of it in that way, it makes sense. I don't know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts off with, first off, this is in the canon where the planet's name is Planet Freedom and not Mobius, which I think was game canon. I'm not sure if it still is. The game canon is all fucked right now.
I mean, and I'm thinking about that too. Like, I never heard the word Mobius in any of the Sonic games. Like,
no,
I'm just, you know, for the most part, a pretty casual fan that doesn't pay attention to the deep lore that might be out there.
Mobius is in Sonic SatAM. It's in the Archie comics. I think it's in Sonic X. They call it Mobius as well. I don't know if that's true in the Japanese version, but I think it's. I remember it being called Mobius in the American dub. It might be in Sonic Underground, though I didn't watch most of that show. It was a fucking train wreck.
I vaguely remember that show.
It's like, oh, Sonic suddenly has a sister and brother.
Yeah.
And is a prince.
You know, that...
It's essentially like, what if Sonic was more of like a Star Wars type fantasy show? They were just basically throwing everything out there with Sonic, huh? Yeah. It's weird.
But, and I was so confused because I'm like, so the world, everything in basically any civilization is just up in a flying world.
Well, they said that there's the land of the sky, and then the surface, which was like the land of darkness. And South Island was part of the sky place, even though no. And then Angel, like the whole thing of like everything being floating really makes Angel Island not matter whatsoever.
It doesn't make Angel Island so special anymore.
Which, to be fair, it's not really all that special anymore anyway.
Yeah.
Literally outside of...
Yeah, whatever happened to the Master Emerald?
Well, the IDW comics go into it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It turns out that... Well, I won't spoil, because that's pretty recent stuff.
Yeah, and I still want to read it at some point.
The IDW comics are really good. I like the new characters that they invented, Tangle and Whisper. But yeah, like, so this is Planet Freedom, and there are two different things of Planet Freedom, and it kind of looks like it's a post-apocalyptic Earth, because there's a point where they're on the land of darkness, which is the surface, and it's all fucked, like it's half submerged. It
almost kind of looks like in the city area, nature's just kind of taking it back.
Yeah, taking it back. There's still like some electricity going on, but it's all flickering on and off and stuff like that. And they call it Ancient Ruins, which does not look like the ancient ruins of the games. But it looks like New York. Like Sonic even scales a building that looks like the Empire State.
It's like some F3 and Odyssey shit. Like, it's an old RPG I played, and you're seemingly, it's a dungeon crawler, and it starts with like a forest, and as you go deeper and deeper down, go through different areas, you're in like a desert kind of area at some point, and then you reach the bottom floor. It's fucking Tokyo.
Of course it is. Here is a game made by Japanese people. What should we put in it? Shibuya! Really? Like, isn't that in every game? Shibuya!
Yeah.
Make sure the crossing's in it. Okay.
Yeah, but it just kind of came out of fucking nowhere, and the game had like zero story until then, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Cool shit. But anyway,
that's the thing about Japanese fantasy. No matter how fantasy it is, even if it's really trying to lean on Western fantasy, it's Japan. Like it's Japan. It's like, oh, welcome to our fantasy land, Nihon. Or like, or it's like, oh, this is a fantasy old timey Japan, or this is alternate universe Japan, or it's a place all its own. But hey, here's some curry and rice, and also mochi. Boy, do I love jelly donuts. To be fair, we've done that too. Ace Attorney takes place in Japan, and in California, in America. Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
I haven't even played like Ace Attorney or any of those games, but I still love that comic.
Now there's a thing. Ooh, I wonder if that's on Steam. If it is, hell yeah. Visual novel / point and click game.
That's up my alley, honestly.
And it would give us a chance to flex our voice acting skills.
Oh no!
I already have a voice for Phoenix.
I don't know how to voice anything besides cat.
Gulp! Well, your cat voice could just be Maya.
Okay, I guess.
And then work from there.
Fair.
But yeah, so the Sonic OVA starts, and there's this island that Sonic and Tails are on. Well, actually, it technically starts with the creation of metal. That's before the title sequence.
Yeah.
Which, man, both Sonic movies have a very quick and lackluster title sequence, don't they? Like, it's not like, I don't know, it's just very quick. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
I'm not recall, like, you're talking about the original, like the Sonic movie that just came out.
Yeah.
Like,
they're very similar, honestly.
Yeah, I don't recall it like that. I don't recall it like that for some reason. I honestly don't recall much of the beginning, to be honest. It's shocking, right?
But yeah, it starts with the creation of metal, and then we go to where Sonic and Tails are, and they're just on this island hanging out. Sonic's trying to catch some Z's on the beach. Meanwhile, Tails invents a jet-powered surfboard but he calls it a bodyboard. I'm not sure what the difference is. When he said bodyboard, I'm like, oh, is it like a boogie board? Mm-hmm. But no, it seems to act more like a surfboard. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look that up at some point, but I'm not sure what the difference between bodyboard and surfboard are.
Yeah.
For all I know, it could just be same thing, different word.
Either way, shut up, Tails.
Yeah, that is an infamous meme line of this. Shut up, Tails!
Shut up, Tails!
So we cut to an owl who's flying, essentially 90s male Longclaw, and he is apparently a assistant to the president, which it says the president, but it doesn't necessarily say the president of America, even though it kind of looks like the Oval Office. But the building isn't exact, and he keeps calling it South Island.
Yeah, but the fact that his daughter is basically a cat girl, and the president himself even kind of looks like he could be some sort of...
He looks like a Hylian.
Yeah, I basically accepted at some point where I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the president of whatever this is, and then the president we see in Sonic Adventure
is
like Sonic Adventure 2.
Well, to be fair, Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 are literally supposed to take place in America. Like, what is it that's in City Escape? Is it Bay City or Coast City? It's supposed to be San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, and it is literally the White House in that when the arc blows up the thing, it goes towards America, even though apparently Japan thinks that the White House is right in the center of America, aka Illinois. That's weird, but because we live in Illinois. No.
Nah.
But then again, maybe Japan doesn't learn the history of how America started at the, eastern edge where the colonies started, thus the capital started from there, which makes sense. We don't really learn about the history of Japan in America, so... Which really, we should learn more global history in primary school. That maybe that would make it so that, people of their individual countries aren't such narcissistic assholes who forget that other people exist in the world. Mm-hmm. Georgia.
And I'm thinking about, like, people not learning about, like, just history of America, or just, I always think it's a really interesting, kind of related, but not really. I always find it an interesting phenomenon that when I read about this online, where people from, like, Europe or whatever, they come to America and think they can hit up, like, Chicago, LA, like, all these places in, like, a week.
No, it's funny.
They don't realize the scope of America.
I think I took I forget what it was. I think it was a U.S. history course in community college, and it was taught by a British guy.
Oh, okay.
British or Scott? I can't remember. He was either British or Scottish. Either way, he was from, that area, the United Kingdom, Europe, Central area, and I think he was British. But it's been a few years, sorry. And he talked about how when he was first starting to teach over here, one of his friends visited, and he literally called him right before the trip and said oh man, I can't wait to see all the sights of America. And the guy was like, well, I don't think we'll be able to get to all of them. And he's like, I think we can squeeze them in. Then comes to the comes to it, and he was already living in Illinois by this point. And so it's like he lands in Illinois and it's like, oh man, all right, cool. How long will it take us to get to LA? 4 days. What? It's like, yeah. Oh well, I wanted to hit Disney World, Disneyland, New York, the Grand Canyon, Mount Rushmore, and LA. So and we've got 3 days. Yeah, no, that's not happening, man.
Don't tell. He said landed in Illinois. Did he have to come to Springfield of all places?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, because the community college is here in town.
I wasn't sure if he was already here or somewhere else, but yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can. The only thing you could squeeze in and be there long enough and come back to have a decent time would be Chicago.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of understandable because especially people in, that UK area, that Central Europe part. Is it Central Europe or Western Europe? I forget which type, what it's called. But that area, everything's really close together.
Yeah.
Like, you know, literally you could be in Europe and just be like, I want some French food, and then just take a day trip to Paris. Like, not exactly, but you get what I'm saying.
I kind of, and I like that. Like, I like the compact. Maybe that's why, like, I kind of like urban areas and more, because I just like the compactness of that. Like, that idea is, like, super attractive to me. I don't know. That's just me.
I like having my own space, but I like being near a city, but not a part of it. So it's understandable that people, like, even if they hear America is crazy fucking stupid big, like, they're probably thinking crazy stupid big, like, you know, their version of crazy stupid big where it takes a day to get somewhere. You know, like, instead, if you're doing a road trip, because otherwise you're going to be doing a lot of plane hopping, and that can be stressful, especially when you've just gotten off of, like, an 18-hour flight to cross the pond. You're looking at, like, a week if you decide that you want to sleep or see anything on the way to the final destination, you know. And so that I can kind of understand, which, you know, if you are a person who's listening to this overseas, and if you're like, man, you know, that's a good point, I would love to hear from an American perspective about what is something that would be advice you would give to somebody who's just arriving in the country for the first time. Let us know. We'll make a video about that on our YouTube. I would love to do that. But back to Sonic, like, this
world's just confusing.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. It's a bit hodgepodge. It's a bit 90s anime.
I was gonna say, it's like we got Rune City, we got an ice cap, we got it all.
But to the point of, like, the president's daughter is a cat girl, like, literally a cat girl. She has a tail. Yeah. Like, her ears seem to be a bow, but they could be covering real cat ears. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if she had normal ears or not.
I don't think they ever showed it.
Then again, in this era of anime, there were cat girls who had just 2 sets of ears in anime. God. Just because they weren't thinking about that shit. Nowadays, that doesn't seem to happen, probably because furries. It's just like, you know, there's people on those things where, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, there's also a point where Sonic is wearing sunglasses, but they don't wrap around his ears, because his ears are near the top of his head, but they just stick to the sides.
Anytime I see when I saw her, and like, just as, like, with Sarah, like, just her little interactions and just Sarah in general, I'm just sitting here watching this. I'm like, I wonder how many furries this just made.
I don't know how big it was.
Yeah, it was big enough for me to have.
Plus, if they were a Sonic fan in the 90s, they probably already got by Sally.
Yeah. They already kind of had a foot in the water at this point.
Or Amy, if they're weird. Oof. Because let's remember, Amy in Sonic CD was 8. Y'all going to jail.
See, I had this thought before we were recording, like, with, like, the whole, like, Amy age thing. Mm-hmm. I can understand it if it was just like okay, so,
which nowadays
I'm gonna throw my little sister under the bus here. She was, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6, and she had a huge crush on one of my friends who was, like, you know, a solid 6-7 years older.
Oh no, it's perfectly understandable that she has, like, a crush.
Yeah, like an innocent, like, little, like, I'm gonna follow you everywhere crush. But, like, people aren't. People are weird.
But no, the weirdness is when you see how, like, though, to be fair, I think by the time of Adventure, they decided that she was 12 instead of 8, which makes it slightly less horrible. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's good that Sonic doesn't
reciprocate. Yeah, that's why I never, like, came across as, like, weird to me, because they're not, like, an established couple, and Sonic is just like, ew, gross, run.
Which, though, I will say that it seems like they might age her up again soon.
Okay.
Because they've changed her character again.
How?
especially in the comics, but also in Sonic Forces, she's not nearly as obsessed about Sonic and is more an actual, like, force, you know, like, in the world. She's second in command of the Resistance.
Oh.
In the comics, she eventually heads the Resistance because Knuckles fucks off to go back to Angel Island. So she's leading that front and is being a lot more mature and responsible. And now the only time she's really chasing down Sonic is because, hey, would you please be a full-time member of this thing? And Sonic's like, nah.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. In fact, I think in the first issue of the comic, Sonic is like, oh, hey, Amy, you're not chasing me because you want me to marry you again, are you? No, I mean, if you want, but no. Which I'm like, good for you. You're a strong, independent hedgehog that don't need no other hedgehog. Yeah.
My God.
But knowing Sega, they'll eventually reset that back to base, just like they did with Tails' able to do shit. Because, like, Tails was actually competent, you know, in Sonic Adventure 2 up to Lost World. And then Sonic Forces, he's just like, I don't do things. I'm just scared.
Oh, no.
I'm just, like, there's a point where Sonic...
Tails had a character arc. This is bullshit.
There's a point where Sonic is getting his ass kicked and Tails is just, like, on the sidelines like, no, Sonic, look out. And I'm like, go help him. Tails, did you forget that you're the one who invented the spin dash? That wasn't Sonic. You did that. And then taught him, which is why he ended up letting you follow him in the first place.
You fought a gigantic almost kind of spider-like robot that Eggman was manning in Station Square all by yourself, even though you were a terrified little fox.
And deactivated a nuke.
Yeah. Come on, Tails, you're not fooling anyone.
And stopped yourself from being fully roboticized in Lost World. He got half roboticized in that game.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but nope, that's not a thing no more. But anyway, in the OVA,
apparently Robotnik is already there.
Yeah, he's in the kind of White House. They call it the presidential house, so I'm guessing it's not exactly supposed to be the White House, but it's the White House. And Eggman's in the swivel chair of the presidency. Which I think means that he is now officially the president. Like, you sit in the chair and you're the president, right?
That's not how that works.
No?
No.
Then how'd Trump get in?
Oof.
I thought he just snuck in and sat on the chair. Is that not? I mean,
Scott,
people didn't vote for him. That's not.
Scott.
People aren't that stupid.
Scott. People voted for him.
No. No.
Now to make it better, he didn't get the majority.
Then how did he win?
Because of electoral bullshit.
No, the Electoral College was just to try to stop the Civil War, but that didn't work. So obviously they disbanded it as an ineffectual system, right? Like that would have been the common sense logic behind that.
Oh, public education failed you.
But it didn't work.
It
didn't work from the onset.
But they kept it.
And when things don't work, you get rid of it.
Not in America.
But that's dumb.
It's the system that the big boys in power intended. But it's working as intended. The system isn't broken. It's working.
No, but like they even before they were considering getting rid of it anyway because like they realized that it was susceptible to nepotism. So they were planning to get rid of it after the war effort was done, but they had to focus on like. Right?
Oh, you poor sweet summer child.
Like, but
I'm laughing because I'm sad.
More tangents.
Yay.
So Sonic shows up to the presidential house and is just like, oh, Eggman. Fuck you. Like, and it's like, here's some robots. And they're like, okay, cool. We're gonna bop them some badniks. and then they'll disappear with the Pokeball sound effect.
Yeah, like that, just poof. I'm like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah, it was the Pokeball sound effect.
That was pretty funny.
I also heard some Dragon Ball sound effects too, and I'm just like, how did you get? Are these public domain things in Japan?
I was wondering that. I'm like, did they everyone basically have the same soundboard in the 90s?
Maybe. I hope not, because that Pokeball sound is kind of iconic, and I hope that they made that.
Yeah.
But it turns out that he has the president and his daughter Sarah captive.
Literally human except for the tail and ears.
Yeah. Eggman tells Sonic, hey, I made a place called Robotropolis, which I'm going to guess in the Japanese dub was probably called Eggman Land, because he's always making Eggman Land. He always wants to make Eggman Land.
It's not happening. You're not Walt Disney, Eggman.
Oh, he did it. That's what Colors is about.
Oh.
Yeah. He made Eggman Land. In fact, I think he called it Eggman World. And he did it by enslaving the Wisps, which is why they're a thing now. He says, well, suddenly, though, a metal Robotnik showed up and kicked me out and took control of my army. Except for these guys here, I guess. I don't...
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, wait.
Honestly,
so
kind
if
of
you didn't,
bullshit.
Yeah, if you didn't make Metal Robotnik, who did?
Yeah, if anyone just thought critically about this for like a minute,
Which Sonic does.
The whole plan would have fallen apart.
Sonic does.
Uh-huh.
He's like, why should I believe this? You know, like fucking 99 out of 100 times he's lying. And Tails goes, yeah, but what if this is the one time he's not? And Sonic's like, fine, I'll go check it out. But fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'll be fucking you later. Fuck you.
Shut up, Tails. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And yeah, they head on out.
Also, like Japan is always want to do, they do start to be like, hey, this human-esque woman is into Sonic, and they say that Sonic might be into her. Real Sonic 06 vibes.
Ugh.
Or Sonic and the Secret Rings. Or Sonic and the Black Knight. Or the original idea where Sonic was a member of a band that Vector was the drummer of and had a human girlfriend.
You know, I think I know.
And this is why Japan and America don't get along when it comes to Sonic's story.
You know, like, I think I just remembered a repressed memory on why I, like, started just dropping off on Sonic after Heroes. You know, back in the day, I just wandered around the game facts. I wandered around the game facts boards because that's what I did in those days. And I was hearing stuff about Sonic 06 and how bad it was. And I kind of almost wanted to buy it just to see, because, well, one, it wasn't my money. I could just be like, hey, Dad, I want this game. And he'd just be like, oh, Sonic. I recognize Sonic. That's a good game for my daughter. Buy game. But I was talking to a buddy on there, and he's like, yeah, no, don't buy this game. I'm like, why not? And
Sonic fucks a human.
He sent me a YouTube link to that scene.
Sonic and a human fuck. It's so weird. How did they get away with this on a rated E game?
It wasn't that scene.
You see penetration.
Scott, please. Anyway, I see Sonic kissing a human girl, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done liking Sonic. And I didn't think much about Sonic again outside of replaying Adventure every now and then until Generations, and that's why I fell off Sonic. Fuck you, Sonic 06.
That's why a lot of people fell off Sonic.
You know what?
And then after that came Unleashed. The Werehog. What? And it's like, oh man, when he's a werehog, meaning he's a hedgehog, and at night he turns into a hedgehog. Wait.
Yeah, that looked kind of weird too. And
he has stretchy arms so that we can steal the gameplay from God of War.
Yeesh.
That's right. The nighttime stages are slow-paced, beat-em-up stages.
Yeah, I remember seeing gameplay video of that, and I'm just... Because I'm like, the day stages, I'm like, okay, that's kind of neat.
No, the day stages are actually really good.
And then I saw the night stages, and I'm like, I don't want to get a game that I'm only going to half enjoy.
Yeah. But So Sonic and Tails speed off, and they go off on the tornado, and they're like, "Oh, there's the land of darkness." You know, that thing that we totally mentioned before. It's like, "Oh, turbulent wind." Tornado gets destroyed, obviously.
I mean,
Like it does all the time.
I was gonna say, is it a Sonic game or any sort of Sonic media if the tornado doesn't get destroyed? Dig into that Sonic knowledge in your brain.
Does it get destroyed in 2? I mean, in 3? Or do they just land it?
I don't remember, honestly.
I know in Mania it does get fucked up.
Well, because I know in Sonic 2, like, it gets kind of fucked up, and then you jump onto the flying ship.
Yeah.
Flying Battery Zone didn't have anything like that, I don't think. So, no, that was Sonic 2.
But anyway, the tornado gets fucked up. They have to go on foot. We get Sonic CD ending montage-esque animation where, like, there are spikes, there are enemies. Except they destroy them and little animals don't pop out.
Yeah.
Nor do flowers. Which, why did Eggman never go back to that? Like, flowers that power the robots. That seems so much easier to get. Just have a garden. You could have the flower-powered robots manning a garden to make the flowers that power the robots.
That's some crazy science that could change the world, but instead you just want to
Damn that hedgehog.
Yeah.
So then Sonic gets to the ancient ruins of New York, and Metal Robotnik appears, and they have a fight where sometimes Metal Robotnik seems actually decently threatening, and other times he's shooting sticky goo from his butt.
Yeah, that was so weird. And, like, because he even looked menacing at, like, that one point where, like, some of his face is, like, falling apart. And I'm like, damn, this is kind of neat. And then he starts shooting poop. And I'm like, oh.
Yep. Sticky glue out of his butt.
Like we were watching this, and as that's happening, I had to take a second. I'm like, wait, is that... Oh, no.
Is that coming out of his ass? That's coming out of his ass.
Yeesh.
But then Knuckles shows up.
In a hat.
It's kind of like an Australian Outback style hat, if that makes sense.
He shows up,
like the Australian version of a cowboy hat, basically.
Yeah. Shows up, kicks ass, immediately hate his voice.
Yeah, it's not a very Knuckles-y voice. I thought Sonic and Tails' voice were fine.
I liked Tails' voice because, again...
I think the problem is that Knuckles is too similar to Sonic's voice.
Yeah, because for that era, Tails was just very much the little kid, kind of almost like little brother sidekick, so the voice made sense for Tails. Sonic, I'm just used to the more modern voices, so it took a few lines for me to adjust to that one, but once I adjusted, I'm like, okay, this is fine for Sonic. Knuckles, pretty much almost the entire time, I'm like, nah.
I will say this, though. The voice actors were clearly given better direction than in Adventures. Yeah. Sonic Adventure, they were literally given, like, no direction.
Watch out! You're gonna crash!
Ah! I wonder what happened to Sonic.
Oh my god. Yeah. Again, I like the.
Where did my Polytoad pal go?
I like I like those voices better, but as far as the delivery, woof.
Yeah, and it's because they were given like pretty much no direction, and then in Sonic Adventure 2, they were given better direction, but also you couldn't fucking hear because. And they were talking over each other because they were trying to match the Japanese stuff, because I guess Sega didn't give the American team a way to actually, mix the audio and like adjust shit.
You're not even good enough to be my pick. I'll make you eat those words. Oh god, it's so good. It's so bad. It's so good. Oh.
You're not even good enough to be my copy. I'll make you eat those words.
Good old Sonic 2. Adventure 2. You hate so much.
really believe him? But still, if he knows something about my past, I guess I have no choice than to go kill some people.
Yay! Yikes. Yikes.
I am Shadow Robot. No, you're not. This game is all about making character choices and making your own story through it, even though if you do all the past, there actually is a true path, so no.
I found an old there was a Tumblr post I saw years and years ago with Shadow the Hedgehog, because you know how there's all those variations, like all those paths you could take. Apparently each one has like their own like ending title like name, and someone's like, you could literally pick like any of these and make like an emo band song out of it.
Yeah. One of them is like Ultimate Life Form, another is like Robotic Copy or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, like the Fall of Eggman, like, you know, Presidency in Ruins, or
and like the fact that they made one for every
Not a Hero.
These could be all songs for like an emo band.
Yeah.
I love it. I never played. Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog 2 also made me just want to fall off. I'm like, why does Shadow have a gun? This is dumb.
That's the least annoying problem. And the horrible thing is that so much of this stuff, like, that the fans hate, they also cause. Because the whole reason that Shadow the Hedgehog has gunplay in it is because the creators of Sonic were constantly being mailed saying, can we have a game where Sonic has a gun?
Why?
Sonic is the most self-destructive fandom I have ever seen.
It's the Sonic fandom is kind of just a strange, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hodgepodge hot garbage mess.
Of course that. It's just a contradiction of itself.
It's a paradox.
It is a paradoxical fandom because there are so many fans that like just remember and love so much about Sonic. Like, I would probably stick you up that, like, that part of the fandom. But then you got other parts of the fandom that are just, you're why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Don't steal.
Original character, do not steal.
So Knuckles shows up just in time, and essentially Sonic is currently drowning. And Knuckles frees Tails, Tails frees Sonic, and they bop Metal Robotnik. It's revealed that inside Metal Robotnik was Robotnik and Sarah.
Whoa.
So then Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles goes to Robotropolis after a comment of like, oh man, thanks for helping us. Are you going back to treasure hunting now? Yeah, it's my favorite pastime since we haven't created Rouge yet.
Yeah.
And so then Knuckles is just like, fuck it, I'll come with. My hat tells me to. And so they invade Robotropolis, and Metal Sonic appears after siphoning all of Sonic's data. And then it's basically just a fight between Sonic and Metal for the rest of it.
Yeah, like
at one point, Sonic is assumed dead, and Metal Sonic goes and forcibly makes an owl change clothes in front of him. No, I'm not going to make that sound less creepy.
Yeah.
And but also, as a part of copying Sonic's data, also copied his personality. So Tails starts to like assimilate Sonic's personality into Metal. So Metal starts acting more and more and more like Sonic until eventually they're not even really fighting to kill each other. They're just fighting to be like, I'm more Sonic than you. No, I'm more Sonic than you. You may know everything I'm going to do, but I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
That was so, like, for whatever reason, I don't think the YouTube version
that we watched had that at first.
And then you made me watch it like after we were done with it, and I'm like, I don't remember this because all of a sudden Sonic has teeth, and this is weird.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, it happens like right after that standoff where it's like, oh, what's that you say? robot noises. What? You're saying that the world isn't big enough for both of us? I agree. And then fights start.
Yeah.
So it's like right after that. So either we were talking or something and missed it, because it is a pretty quick scene. But yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so while Sonic and Metal are fighting, the others are trying to stop Robotnik from essentially exploding this bridge, this single bridge, which is apparently the connecting tissue of every floating island continent. And if it wasn't for that, if that melts, everything will go flying into space.
That is a massive weak point. And with considering the technology of this world, you'd think if they were aware of this, they would have tried to start coming up with some solutions to this problem.
But that's the thing. It kind of sounds like they aren't.
Yeah.
Like, the president seems to not know what the fuck they're talking about at first.
Oh, God. Don't that sound familiar?
Yeah, but no, like, seriously, like, he just sat on the chair and that's how he got in, right?
Oh, no.
He just snuck his way in.
Scott. No.
That's why we've been in this hell for 4 years? Because nobody else has been able to sneak in yet?
Scott.
Like... Like...
He's just looking back at me.
And the only reason that, like, Obama didn't take it back is because of the no tack back rule.
Oh my God.
So we need somebody else to do it. I'm not sure why they always sneak in in January though. Like the January of the next year after 4 years happens. Seems like a weird tradition. Like why don't you just sneak in anytime?
Almost.
So while they're fighting, like Metal ends up saving the president and Owl, who's still here for some reason, and it's like, what? He saved them, but why? It's like, you thought you were trying to short out Sonic's personality, blah 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 blah. Well, guess what? He's still gonna try to kill Sonic, and then they start fighting again. But then like Metal like eventually goes boom and fall into hole, and then Sonic is like, no, I suddenly care about him not being destroyed.
Yeah,
weird.
I'm like, where did this come from?
And then it's like, here, grab my hand, and then smacks it away. And it's like, there is only one Sonic.
I'm like,
no, Metal.
I'm like, okay. See, like, because I thought, like, when he smacked his hand away, I thought it was just, like, a pride thing. But, like...
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's a Sonic pride.
Yeah. But,
way past cool.
Now, and then,
need to go speedy.
And everything seems fine. Yay, we saved the day. And Eggman's like, ha, I still have the CD. And
then like a little turtle bomb. It's a little missile turtle. I think it was a hair missile and a tortoise missile.
Yes.
And the hair missile blows up the tornado again. And but the tortoise missile is still just.
I loved that thing. It was trying so hard.
Best character. And it eventually gets there, and the first thing it touches is the disc. So it blows up in Robotnik's face.
And everyone's just like, ha, ain't that funny?
90s anime / kids show ending. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Oh, and I forgot the other enjoyable moment that I did remember from my childhood.
Interesting, pseudo Sonic CD adaptation.
Yeah. Another just silly little funny moment I remember. Because, I remembered this scene from my childhood, too. Because I remember Knuckles coming out of the ground with the hat. Mm-hmm. And I also remembered the Whack-A-Knuckles. Mm-hmm. That was really funny.
Yeah, Whack-A-Knuckles, where literally he's just in all of these holes and keeps having to go under to duck Metal and Sonic's fight. But then Sonic steps on him.
There were a lot of little funny gags like that. Or even like what was that scene when Metal Sonic, like there was those noises, it was like janky and then leg kick.
Oh yeah, he's hovering upside down in front of Sonic, like just drops one of his legs completely so that he's basically both of his legs are making a 90-degree angle, and then just spins around to kick him in the face. That was just some good robot shit right there.
Eggman was very expressive, and I loved that.
Yeah.
It was the animation was fun. It was, and the music very 90s, like
very Sonic CD.
The first real track we heard, I'm like, I want to play a Sonic game. Like I'm like, this is some Sonic stage bullshit. Like this would be in a game.
Yeah, like the part where they're fighting, like Sonic and Metal are fighting. I'm like, man, is that from Sonic CD?
We were like questioning, like, wait, is this just like remixed music from like the games? Like, what's going on here? I'm like it was so good that we were like wondering that.
Like at the very least, if somebody told me, oh yeah, it was made by the same people who did the soundtrack for the game, I'd be like, I believe it.
Yeah, it was really good quality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I'd listen to it on a record because I don't know if CDs were around yet. They were.
I was gonna say, CDs were around, Laserdisc. Well, we're
Laserdisc. Shut up.
Oh, come on! I'm gonna go and ask my mom to get Dad's Laserdisc and bring it.
Why?
Because it's a novelty.
But we don't have any Laserdiscs.
My dad does. He
still
has them all.
Probably none that I would give a shit about.
Novelty.
He doesn't have Dragon's Lair.
No.
He doesn't have the version of E.T. on Laserdisc that has that weird scene where E.T. tries to touch the kid's mom while she's asleep.
Oh God.
That's a thing.
Oh God.
That's a thing.
Please tell me you're bullshitting me.
Nope.
Sometimes I have to play the. Yeah, you're just dancing around right now. Sometimes, listeners, I have to play this game with him like almost every day, where he will say something weird and outlandish, and I have to determine whether he's bullshitting me or not. And I think I'm at about 50% accuracy on that.
Ha! No.
What?
No, not even close.
What?
Because I throw you off. Sometimes I'll say I'm bullshitting when I'm actually telling the truth.
Scott.
Let's see here. Anyway, so Sonic. Yeah, that's pretty much the end. So what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think I'm thinking again, like, it wasn't like the most memorable thing for me as a kid, but there were segments that I enjoyed, which, you know, I can see why, like, one of my cousins who I eventually kind of put two and two together, I'm like, oh yeah, they were total weebs. I can see why they'd be like, this is a cool thing, like, as teenagers, and it's like, hey, kids would like this because we liked this too. It was fun. There were fun little moments in it. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but long story short of it, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. It's cheesy as all fuck, but it's a 90s anime.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, that's about all my thoughts on that. You got anything else to add, Scott, while you're trying to...
No, not really.
He's trying to fix a thing now.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
Okay. Thank you for listening. This is Out of the Ice. Follow us on Twitter at Out of the Ice Pod 1.
Follow us on YouTube at Kingdom of Geekalon.
And talk to us. We're very lonely.
We're so lonely. Nobody comments. We want to hear from people. We need to know if we're doing a shit job.
I need these comments so I can stay up at night.
Yeah, even if you don't like us and you're like, hey, you're really bad, tell us so we actually know that we're bad and we can improve.
We'll cry.
Or get worse.
We can cry about it for a day or so and then just try to figure out what to do then.
Yeah.
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 I'm Kat.
I'm Scott.
And we're Out of the Ice.
Please talk to us. Which they probably won't because it's an all ages book, but I think it'd be pretty progressive of them if they were like, yeah, they're gay. Like they're gay together. this is normal, kids.
Yeah.
Like, gay happens sometimes.
Whoops. Yeah, nothing strange, nothing weird. This is normal.
In fact, honestly, the fact that Tangle seems to get kind of blushy anytime somebody, like, strong or powerful shows up.
Bisexual icon.
Or Pan.
Yeah.
Or Omni. Or... I'd like you to... Fuck it. Obviously, they wouldn't use sexual terms. Like, they wouldn't say pansexual or something. But it would be pretty progressive for if kids are reading the book. If they're just like, yeah, I just like both. I don't care.
We need more shit like that in the media, because that could save a poor kid a few years of confusion and be like, I like both.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I have a type, but that type does not include a gender. Like, if you're a badass, I'm in.
My type is cute. That's like...
No, her type is Sonic-esque. Like, I've read the books. She gets, like, all blushy when Sonic shows up. Mm-hmm. Then Blaze shows up, and she gets jealous, but then blushy. And then she gets really close to Whisper suddenly, who is a sniper. So...